Next tonight here, new and disturbing accusations against Sean Diddy Combs. A Texas attorney tonight says he now represents 120 alleged victims, men and women, whose allegations span more than 30 years. The accounts of the alleged victims have not been fully vetted, but their accusations involve the kind of drug-fueled alleged assaults described in a dozen civil lawsuits and the criminal case against Combs. Combs has pleaded not guilty to federal charges. His attorney tonight saying Combs emphatically denies any claim that he sexually abused anyone.
To New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
I know, and people know, that was around in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation.
Usher's Bombshell about his childhood under Diddy forces the industry to confront the shadows behind its brightest stars. His past reveals a mentor-prodigy relationship shaped by chaos, blurred boundaries, and a system that protected power over children. And now the question echoes louder than ever: was this mentorship or exploitation disguised as opportunity? As the years go by, the question becomes more uncomfortable. What happened when a rising star, looking to learn from one of the biggest names in the game, was instead thrust into a world of questionable choices? Usher's candid revelations about his time under Diddy's wing shine a light on a relationship that was far from the mentorship he once believed it to be. Federal agents storming Diddy's mansions, search warrants for devices, and evidence of trafficking charges. These aren't just rumors. This is a pattern that continues to unravel in real time. Usher's testimony could be the tipping point. The stakes have never been higher as federal charges loom over Diddy's empire. Will these revelations end the fight of invulnerability, or will they be swept under the rug by those who want to protect the narrative?
Moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I
Come
mean,
on.
but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil' Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans.
And your parents
Jodeci,
were
Mary
okay?
J. Blige. They didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time, you know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 a.m. with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
And do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem.
Yeah.
I had like,
What
like
a
living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
The biggest secret in the entertainment industry that really wasn't a secret at all has finally been revealed to the world. The wall of silence has now been broken, and victims are coming forward. Our team has had at this point more than 3,285 individuals contact us with people claiming to have been victimized by Sean Combs. After vetting, we now represent 120 individuals who intend to bring civil claims in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs, as well as claims against many other individuals and entities that we will name as defendants as we file these individual cases.
Usher recalls being just 13 years old when he was sent to Puffy's Flavor Camp in New York, a far cry from a typical school experience, immersed instead in a world of nightlife and adult behavior. It's a story that shocks, not just for the circumstances, but for what it reveals about the pressure placed on child stars. I'm here to work. Put me in the studio, he recalls pleading. As he witnessed an adult world he was too young to comprehend. His mentors were more focused on parties than potential. His dreams were overshadowed by chaos. That year, once seen as an opportunity, has since revealed itself to be a turning point in Usher's life. As he grows older, he now reflects, I would never send my son into that environment. His childhood wasn't the stuff of normal childhood stories. It's an insight into what happens when children are groomed for the spotlight without proper boundaries.
If you don't mind me asking, because I know the topic is sensitive, what happened to Usher?
I heard about some music executive from the industry back in Harlem. You know, I heard it from some music executives back in Harlem. And I'm not gonna speak on their name. They doing programs and everything like that, and they may be doing some, they may speak on it themselves. But I heard it from some music executives.
What did you hear?
Bro, you know how people be talking and we was around some people, something like that, and then some people might say, yo, I don't F with that dude. And at the time, I didn't even know who the F Usher was. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those type of situations. And when people say, yo, man, I don't F with them niggas, man, I'm getting out that industry and everything like that. You know, Puff sent this little kid to the hospital. How he sent him to the hospital? Man, nigga was bleeding from the butt. And that's what was said. But I didn't even have a name for the kid at the time. Then you heard it, and that's what happened. And that's just, that's something that you heard. You don't know if it's true, you just heard it. So, and just to hear this, and this new thing where they saying that they got kids coming forward and said that he did that, man, that shit is crazy. And like I just said, that's just something that I heard. It's something that I didn't know. It's something that I ain't see. A lot of people want to, because Gene Deal has spoken on certain things that I've heard, I have spoken on it. But then they were just trying to say, I know. No, I'm not scared to say what I heard. And if there's any truth to it, then it's truth to it. Let them find it. Things that I've saw or things that I've witnessed and been a part of, I've said it. I'm not afraid to say what I saw or what I didn't see. A lot of people want to make up shit. I don't make up things. When I say Puff go in the room with two girls, you understand, and another guy and a rapper, and then all of a sudden they cousin try to go in the room, I throw them up against the piano, they run out the room with grabbing towels and they naked. They still had two girls in the room. But people want to make up a lot of bullshit and say what they want to say and flip it the way they want to flip it. I tell it like it is. But you got these guys, you got these people out here, man, you know what I'm saying? All this shit is for entertainment, man. Some people want the truth, some people speak the truth. Some people don't even know the fucking truth, it'll smack them dead in the face, brother. But I tell you one thing, it's from my mouth to God's ear. And all these clowns can say whatever they want to say. Like I'm just saying, he lived a rock and roll lifestyle when I was with him, bro. I don't know about his addiction and stuff like that. He was a totally different person, bro. When I try to tell people that, they don't understand that. He was probably doing some of the little snake shit, doing some things and stuff like that, but the magnitude and what he was doing with the freak off parties and all like that, I didn't experience that with him. That was not my experience with Diddy or Puffy or Puff Daddy. That wasn't my experience with him.
And you had no idea who Usher was when you heard about him?
I didn't know who Usher was at the time. It's all gonna come out some kind of way, bro. All this is God's, this is something that was put in place, and it was designed by God, brother, for all this to happen and go down like this.
Years later, Usher found himself in the spotlight for a different reason, a lawsuit about transmitting an STD to a stylist. The public ridiculed his private health crisis, turning a serious issue into viral gossip. Behind the tabloid headlines, however, lies a deeper issue. How much of Usher's recklessness came from a childhood spent in an adult world? This isn't just about a scandal. It's about a pattern of behavior that was nurtured from a young age. Usher's descent into self-destruction wasn't just about fame, it was learned behavior from a world he wasn't ready for.
You know, I guess her and Diddy was having relations and he couldn't get off. So he was complaining to her one time that, you know, he couldn't get off, and for him to get off, she had to pinch his nipples real hard for him to get off. I mean, yeah, man, this lawsuit is wild, man.
She should have had on white polish, fingernail polish. No, man, we shouldn't be laughing about that, man, you know, because she is a victim. You know what I'm saying? She is a victim, man, and if this is her victim story, we got to be more, I think, more compassionate. She was 17 years old at the time. She was fascinated by that whole thing, getting on a G4, G5 jet, you understand? And what was her parents, man? What was her daddy, her mama? They didn't miss their child? She didn't come home that night? I don't know, man. I can't fathom the whole idea, man. But it's crazy.
When you hear about this stuff, right, like the 17-year-old girl saying that, you know, Diddy, he couldn't get off unless she pinched his nipples real hard, and you got Cassie saying that, you know, he'll make her look up BBCs and he like to masturbate while she get banged by a BBC. You not surprised when you hear about this stuff, right?
Bruh, I knew about the butt plug fetishes because I saw that with my own eyes. I knew about him and Kim being swingers with other people, whether it was another male or another woman or a male and a woman together. I saw that with my own eyes. You gotta realize is that after 2005, I didn't see anything that Puff was doing or what he didn't do. Puff had got addicted to opioid. And being addicted to those things bring other drugs on. I seen Puff smoke a cigarette. I never saw him smoke a cigarette. He was on the beach smoking a cigarette on YouTube. Then I seen him, you know, smoking weed and drinking. I was like, that ain't the Puff I know. Drinking like he was and doing all like that. And that ain't the Puff that I knew. You understand what I'm saying? You gotta realize he had a certain respect around me because I was his OG from the same gang. You understand? And he knew I was law enforcement. He knew I didn't play certain things. So he ain't gonna do what he do around other people in front of me because he knew I'm gonna check him on that. But what you trying to do? So to say that what he's being known for with Cassie, I can only equate to some of the things that I seen him and Kim go through. You understand what I'm saying? So people get mad, you know, but it is what it is. I can only equate his actions like that.
Crazy, man. So all this stuff about him having fetishes is true.
Oh, no doubt. Especially if he getting butt plugs in different flavors.
But speaking of butt plugs, right, I remember some years ago, Cameron, he did an interview and he told a story about how he went to Diddy house with Mace.
Yeah.
And he found the dildo in the sink.
I think that was crazy. I think that was out of, and then Mace said that was Puff's. I think he said Mace said that was Puff's, but Mace was in the bathroom with it. I don't know what that was all about, man, but that was real weird to me. That was crazy.
Crazy, man. But before we get off of that, right, I remember you told me a while ago that, you know, Mace, he used to live with Diddy, and he know a lot of stuff about Diddy that a lot of people don't know.
Man, it's a lot of stuff that Mace and Usher know that they ain't telling about Diddy. There's a lot of stuff that they know. Can you imagine, bruh? Can you really imagine?
What you mean by Usher, though?
Usher used to stay with Diddy, too, when he was younger.
The darkness of the entertainment world isn't just about one person's story. It's a system. Industry veterans recount stories of Diddy's notorious hotel parties, multiple women, open acts, and a young Usher wandering through it all. There are rumors, whispers of minors and unspeakable acts, but even without legal proof, the pattern is undeniable. Teenagers were treated as props in an adult fantasy. This isn't about proving every rumor. It's about a cycle of exploitation in plain sight. As Usher recalls his days in the Puffy camp, we have to ask, was this just the price of fame? Or was it a systemic failure that affected an entire generation of stars?
What's up, man? You good?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Young brother, everything's good?
Everything's
Selling
great.
out arenas and everything?
Yeah.
Starting to act different, huh?
No,
you ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you tried to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But you never really got my number, so.
Correct. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you my number.
Yeah.
It's 555.
Yeah, so as soon as you turn 16, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna let you rock this every time you come to LA. Yeah, this gonna be yours. So every time you come to LA, it's a little dusty, but look at the front shot of this.
Man.
Check that out. Minute.
Woo. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna be driving this next year.
Yeah, when you get 16, you come down there, you gotta, wear your seat.
I mean, I'm 15. You could ride in the passenger seat. I got my permit. Not yet.
No.
All right,
No.
16.
No,
16.
Let's slow down. Let's slow down, Jess.
Okay.
Let's slow down. Okay.
One step at a time.
But yeah, the keys is yours when you get 16. You're good to go.
I'm good to go.
Yeah.
All right, mate.
Then when you get 18, you get the house. You get the mansion.
Okay. I get the mansion.
Yeah.
So where are we off to now?
And where would you like to go?
I mean, wherever you want to go. Where are we going?
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
I'm going crazy.
Crazy.
I'm taking this out tonight.
What you want to do? What you want to do over the next 48 hours?
48 hours. Let's go. Let's just go get some girls. Let's go hang out with some girls.
A man after my heart. That's what I'm talking about, kid.
Justin Bieber's rise mirrors Usher's in many ways, another young prodigy taken under the wings of a music mogul. Usher mentored him, but did he, in turn, unknowingly repeat the cycle of exploitation he had once experienced? Bieber's struggles with depression and drugs later in life have made us question the choices Usher made for him, including the questionable TIs to Diddy's orbit. Usher might have been trying to protect him, but as Bieber grew older, he distanced himself, suggesting that perhaps the environment Usher helped him into wasn't as safe as it.
I want to say a 14 or 15-year-old Justin Bieber is living with him and they're talking, and a young Usher is living with him and talking. Have you seen these clips, and do you have any thoughts on Diddy being around younger artists to, I guess at the time, get them, used to the industry? But I'm not really sure. Maybe you know why. Maybe you have a better reason as to why somebody would send their young potential star to live with a Puffy.
Yeah. Y'all about to get mad at me, but who gives a f? Didn't y'all hear the situation with Michael Jackson? Didn't y'all hear the same situation? And y'all blamed it on the parents with R. Kelly. Didn't y'all do that? Y'all did all of that to them. But unfortunately, y'all, parents see star potential
into their kids at a young age. Is generally what happens. And I believe that they see these spark potentials in them, and and a parent would do anything to blow their kids up. Aaliyah mother settled for publishing rights for allowing R. Kelly to do what he did to Aaliyah. Janet Jackson family did it with the guy from can't think of his name right now, but I think it was the group called Shalamore or something like that. Did it with their family. She got her sister raising a kid thinking that she's the mama. Yeah, I'll get too deep for y'all. But those situations has been happening for a long time where parents figure it won't happen to my kid, or hopefully it don't happen to my kid, or if it does happen to my kid, at least we'll be rich. And that's what happens sometimes with the guys, and you don't know, but there's some good situations out there that has happened as well with kids, in my mind. You know, the Bow Wow situation. Bow Wow was never a victim around Death Row. Snoop or Suge, and none of them ever messed with with Bow Wow while he was a kid growing up trying to be in the business. We haven't heard any situations like that with Brandy, to my knowledge. She was a young kid, but they're even though Brandy mama was always, in her life and all of that. But my point is, people allow them to be around people for that opportunity to blow up. Look at the girl, which is funny. Even though we can't believe a word she says, your favorite girl, that chick that you think is so fine, that was with Aaron Hall. What's her name? Gloria something?
Oh, Gloria Velez?
Yeah, she calling out your boy Gene. She been calling him out, talking about he lying. But so there's situations like that happened a lot back in the 90s, and even until today in my situation. I mean, in my opinion. But I couldn't do it. I would have to be around my child every day. But people has done it, and it's all behind that dollar bill, y'all. That dollar bill, that green. And some people will sell their soul for that dollar. And it's unfortunate. But that's what I believe the situation is. On the Justin Bieber and the Usher situation and all of that. The Michael Jackson, the R. Kelly situation. We all have an opinion on all those situations, right? I know right now y'all saying, Michael ain't did nothing. All right. I don't know. Wasn't there. But I know that little boy that got that big settlement described Michael Jackson's penis to the T. Every disclosure on it. Y'all miss me with that. But damn. It's unfortunate. That's all I'm gonna say. Shout out to the victims. Hope y'all get y'all recovery that y'all need. He made a joke about the baby oil. He didn't say he didn't swing like that. he didn't say he didn't like that, or he didn't do that with no man or nothing like that, or no threesomes or shit like that Diddy accused of. He said he don't like baby oil. I tell you, Will, boy, I like Will actually. I've been watching his shows because that's all that come on BET now. And y'all know I watch a lot of TV because I'm at home a lot, right? And man, every female actress that's hot right now, pretty much, that's been around since the 90s, went through Bel-Air, the Fresh Prince was on that show. It's not too many females other than like Janet Jackson or something like that was hot in the 90s that wasn't on the Fresh Prince show. So shout out to Quincy Jones and Will Smith for, giving all of those people, Benny Medina, giving all those people opportunity.
Bieber's quiet distancing from Usher speaks volumes. Skipping reunions, unfollowing on social media, these are small moves, but they're deeply symbolic. What once looked like a mentor-mentee relationship now feels more like survival. As Bieber steps away from the shadows of older men whose actions are now under intense scrutiny, Usher, for his part, insists there's no bad blood, but does Bieber's public silence hint at a deeper truth? When a mentee turns away from the mentor, is it about personal growth or an indictment of the toxic environment they both grew up?
I think that we made the points that we've been wanting to make. I think it came out. Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's going to fight this to the end. He's innocent. He came to New York to establish his innocence. He's not afraid. He's not afraid of the charges. There's nothing that the government said in their presentation today that changes anyone's mind about anything. He's been looking forward to this day. He's been looking forward to clearing his name, and he's going to clear his name. And we're going to stand by his side as he does. We believe in him wholeheartedly. He didn't do these things. This was a 10-year relationship. There's no coercion. There's no crime. There's basically just, someone who brought a civil case and now is finding themselves as a witness in a criminal case. And we're going to fight this case with everything we have, as is he. And eventually he's going to be shown to be innocent. And so tomorrow we fight again.
I can tell you why it's farcical to me is this idea of this mythical creature that can take ketamine and MDA and booze and then have sex for dozens of days on end. Because what you're talking about now is an allegation that this, and I'm going to use its Mandingo stereotype of this crazed black man who's being prosecuted by 5 white women who are saying this man's sex needs are insane.
The sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs is back underway in Manhattan today, with pop star Dawn Richard returning to the stand. The Danity Kane singer testified that when Diddy did not get his way, quotes, people could go missing, close quotes. She also told the court that she personally saw Diddy drag, kick and punch his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura. Well, much of the evidence so far has been damning, as prosecutors build their case that he was the kingpin in a criminal enterprise responsible for sex trafficking and racketeering. But despite that, some people believe the drastic nature of the charges could mean that Diddy will sensationally walk free. In a moment, I'll talk to Matthew Fletcher, the former lawyer of Suge Knight, and Ben Chew, who successfully represented Johnny Depp. But we begin with a man who finds himself at the centre of the Diddy scandal. Lawyer Tony Busby filed multiple lawsuits on behalf of alleged Diddy victims, but has recently been hit with an extortion suit by Jay-Z and accused of, quotes, targeting black men, close quotes. Well, he joins me now. Tony Busby, thank you very much for coming back to Uncensored. A lot has happened since you last appeared on this show. Let's start, first of all, with the fact that when we last spoke, you said you were representing 120 further alleged victims of Sean Diddy Combs in civil suits spanning 20 years, with victims as young as 9, 14 and 15. Now in March, you announced you were dropping 15 of these cases after Diddy's attorneys argued you weren't authorized to practice in the Southern District of New York. So just explain, before we go any further, explain what's happened there.
Yeah, typically when you're a licensed lawyer in New York and you're accepted in one of the federal districts, it's by reciprocity, you're accepted in the others. Well, they challenged that. And so they filed grievances against me and basically attacking my ability to practice in the Southern District of New York. And that is being sorted out. And while it's being sorted out, I withdrew from about 12 to 15 cases, but still represent those people. Those cases are still ongoing, still being represented by my firm and our local New York counsel. So I would call that a sideshow. Much ado about nothing, and we're working through it.
You've had a lot of time, obviously, since we last spoke to really, I guess, go over all the individual stories of the 120, as it was then, alleged victims. Have you now narrowed down that number to cases that you believe are incontrovertible? Are they all, in your estimation, incontrovertible? What's the sort of credibility looking like with each of these cases now?
I'll tell you where we are now. We have 40 cases that are filed. We have 60 to 70 that will be filed in other jurisdictions. Remember, we were trying to make the limitations period that existed in the state of New York. So the rest of the cases that will be filed in other states, primarily in California. But the number's about still the same. Some people, because of these various sideshows and controversy, have dropped out, but still around 100 people who allege that Diddy assaulted them in some way. And as I've been receiving reports on this trial as it goes forward, one thing that has struck me is that the evidence and the factual circumstances are very consistent with what these plaintiffs have alleged. So we've been watching this criminal trial very closely, as you might imagine, and have watched this go forward, and it's striking to me, the allegations that are being made and some of the testimony that came out with Cassie and some of the testimony coming out today, very consistent with what these plaintiffs in the civil cases have been alleging.
And what is the sort of modus operandi consistent pattern that you're seeing?
What I'm seeing is there's obviously a lot of violence involved, a lot of threats involved. Some of these counts, specifically transportation to engage in prostitution, that keeps coming out over and over. But also the implicit and then actually explicit threats that are made towards individuals after this conduct ends. You won't say anything, you won't do anything about this. I mean, that has jumped out at me. I've also been watching the commentators. People have been seizing upon this word and that word and saying, oh, look here, that proves that there was no coercion because Cassie, allegedly voluntarily participated in this activity. And I think one of the things that hasn't come out and hasn't been discussed that I think needs to be discussed is this idea of trauma bonding. When someone is in a long-term relationship and they have been allegedly abused, people have a hard time wrapping their head around the fact that why would they continue in the relationship? Why would they go back? And that's classic trauma bonding. There's other names for it. When people are kidnapped, you've heard about Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
Heard about battered wives syndrome. What I have seen, we had somebody there during the opening statements, and of course we've been receiving real-time updates every day of the testimony, and that has jumped out at me time and time again, is that this idea of trauma bonding and these commentators who have seized upon certain snippets of text and so forth, where they talk about, well, look, Cassie was voluntarily participating in this. I don't see it that way, and I'm not sure the jury will see it that way either.
The other thing that's happened with you personally since we spoke is that in February, you withdrew a lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs and Jay-Z, which alleged the rape of a 13-year-old girl in 2000. The anonymous plaintiff, referred to as a Jane Doe, voluntarily withdrew the case, the court records show.
Legal troubles deepen as his defense team begins to fall apart. High-powered lawyers are walking away, and the once solid foundation of his empire is cracking. The entertainment world that once protected Diddy is beginning to abandon him. And the question remains, when even the architects of this system back away, how long can the truth stay hidden?
Looking at this lawsuit, right, Lil Rod, he alleges that, Diddy told him personally that he had with Usher. And when you look at the lawsuit, even though they got Usher name redacted, you could tell who it is because they described him as the guy that performed at the Super Bowl.
Right.
So, we all know who that is, but how you feel about that, man?
Well, I mentioned that earlier, that he said about Stevie J. The Usher part, that's a touchy situation, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I had a certain feeling, and I felt a certain way when Usher got on Shay Shay, and I don't mean to mention other people's platforms, but he got on Shay Shay and he mentioned how great and how good Puff taught him and everything. You know what I'm saying? About the business, right? I know, and people know, that was around that in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital. Now I let Usher explain that to y'all. I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that groomed you, you gonna give him a pass? Bro, I know Let me reframe you on something. Remember Usher? We was at the Swiss Hotel. Puff had Kim in the room. Had one of Keith Sweat's baby mothers in the big room outside the master bedroom. He came outside in his robe. She gave him a fellatio right there. His back was turned to me. She gave him a fellatio. You knocked on the door. I came and opened the door for you. Puff went in the room. You came in the room and kissed that girl dead in her mouth. Now I'm telling that because you taking up for somebody that you know and a lot of more people know didn't do you right when you was at Diddy camp. Y'all put it together.
And what you mean by Diddy camp?
Remember? He was on one of the talk shows. The white guy with the curly hair. What's his name? The white guy with the curly hair. And he said, yo, would you send your son to Diddy camp? And Usher said, no. Ask him why he won't send him to Diddy camp. But yet and still you praise him.
Damn, man, and you said that, I know you can't go into detail, but you said that it was a situation where Diddy sent him to the hospital?
Let Usher explain that to you. Let Usher mama explain that to you. And the hospital was in Scarsdale, New York.
Diddy's latest motion claims he's being targeted because of his success as a black mogul. But Usher's testimony adds a layer of complexity to the narrative. Usher's words won't just serve as legal testimony, they will serve as a cultural mirror to a system that's been protecting its stars at all costs. Was what happened to Usher, Bieber, and others just a series of messy, unregulated parties? Or was it, in fact, grooming disguised as mentorship? The truth might be hidden, but it's about to be revealed as Usher's words carry weight, shining a light on the darker side of the industry's glitzy image.